Happy intro, happy day. I'm a little bit tired. Turn that light bulb off. I'm a little bit tired this morning, guys. But I chose this particular game for you guys to enjoy because... Not because this guy has no idea how to drive a tank. But because his name is Kevin. This player's name is Kevin. And I wanted to pick... And I just needed... Kevin. And I chose this mainly because of an incident that just happened yesterday. Because you guys understand that when I do this content, my mind, the way it works is there's always things swirling around inside. And I draw from life experience a lot and some of the commentary and I put things together. And think back about a month ago, I did a video... the tank called the Gonzo, and I called it the Gonzalo. I called it the Great Gonzalo. Remember the video? About a month ago, I did a video called the Great Gonzalo. Tank was called the Gonzalo. But I don't even remember. But yesterday, I woke up and I did the video for yesterday, and then I took Marty for a walk, and then I thought, today's going to be a good day for me to go to Tim Hortons and have a nice cup of coffee and sit there with my laptop and just check a few things, read some comments, and relax and enjoy a nice coffee. So occasionally I go to Tim Hortons and get a coffee. So I went. And for some reason, it's my local place that I go to all the time, but for some reason they've implemented this policy that when you go in there to order your coffee now, or whatever you order, you put in your order. And it used to be you tell the nice person, the server, I'd like a small dark roast with 2 sugars and 1 cream on the side and a Boston cream donut or whatever you're going to get. And then they just key it in, and within 30 seconds or a minute, another server over there says that Boston cream and small dark roast with 2 sugars, and you get it. But now they've started this policy where they take your order and then they say, and what's your name? And then you have to give them your name, and then the person that prepares it then calls your name out. Okay, so it caught me off guard, right? So I went in and all I ordered was a small dark roast with 2 sugars and 1 cream on the side and a plain bagel toasted with butter. And she goes, keys it in. Good. And what's your name? And that caught me a little bit off guard. And of course, as my mind was churning around, thinking of different things, it was just at that moment that it popped into my mind that I was kind of laughing internally, because I laugh at myself, about the video from about a month ago about the Great Gonzalo. It just popped in there. I was thinking about it, and she asked, what's your name? And what could go wrong? I said to her, I'm the Great Gonzalo. So I do that sometimes just to be playful, right? To make it a little bit happy, some humor, and brighten up some of the servers' day that their regular routine and boring job that it must be. The banter with the customers is probably entertaining for them. I'm the Great Gonzalo. And she looked at me and she said, what makes you so great? Like she didn't find it humorous. She said, well, what makes you so great? And I said, well, I can do this. And I did a little pirouette. I said, well, I can do this. I don't know why. This came out right. But the trouble is when I did the pirouette and as my arm swung through the air doing that, it just barely hit on the display that they had on the counter between the customers and the servers. These travel mugs, or these ceramic. Apparently, you have to buy a $25 ceramic mug now to carry your coffee around. It says Tim Hortons on it. And they had them there on the counter, and I just barely nicked one, and it fell over. And as it fell over, it hit the next one, and then it hit the next one, and then it hit the next one. There was a little bit of a chain reaction of about 7 or 8 of these mugs that fell over on the counter, and of course then they started rolling depending on the surface of the counter. A few rolled towards me and then fell on the ground. And they make quite a noise, you know, when ceramic falls on the ground on tile, and then they roll on the, and a couple fell the other way. And right away, on the noise of the rolling ceramic mugs and the things and the crashing, this young guy comes running up from behind, and he's looking around immediately. He started collecting them and picking them up and trying to stop them from rolling. And a little bit of a, I wouldn't say chaos, but a little bit of an occurrence. And there was probably 7 or 8 people waiting in line that were like, they're all staring at me, right? They're all just staring at me. And this whole process played out over a period of about a minute. And this guy's trying to pick them up, and he's on his knees and he's trying to pick one up, but it's rolling, so he's like shuffling along the floor trying to corral them all. It's about a minute and a half goes by. And then, of course, it was a simple order. My order's ready. And the person that was preparing the order, she calls out, "Order for the Great Gonzalo?" And she looks around. And what she sees is everyone in the place staring at me. And she says, "Oh, you must be the Great Gonzalo." But that's not the funny part, right? That's not the funny part. The funny part is my quick thinking at that moment, when she said that, I very confidently looked at her and I said, yes, I certainly am. And she handed me my coffee and a paper bag that had the bagel in it. And I calmly took it. And I said, "Thank you very much." And I turned around. And I would have helped pick up some of the things, but this lad that came out, he was very efficient. He got them all. I wasn't going to just walk away, but he had fixed it up. I turned around and said, thank you very much. And I turned around and I sauntered out. And all eyes followed me. And as I was opening the door and exiting, the woman, the first server that I put my order in, I could hear her from behind. She goes, "And there goes the Great Gonzalo." And the funny part is, I've been to that Tim Hortons for 14 years. And it's a older woman that takes the orders. I know her. She's not a buddy or a friend, but I see her a lot. And this is the first time, we're not on a first name basis. I don't know what her name is. I've never looked at the name tag. She doesn't really know who I am, but she knows I'm a regular customer. But since they implemented this policy, this is the first time that they've had to ask, "And what is your name?" And so now, after 14 years, and there goes the Great Gonzalo. Which, if you can laugh at yourself, let me check here, and just, is this, yeah, it's recording. Thank you. Just checking if that's another story. If you can laugh at yourself, it's a very entertaining situation, which I may point out has probably spread humor and cheer amongst the servers and the workers of that particular Tim Hortons, who will now remember this, and it will become a treasured memory as they recollect perhaps some of the younger ones a job that they had while they were in school, or this elderly woman who works there every day, who can go home and tell her husband, "Oh, I had an incredible day at work. You wouldn't believe what happened." You know, some fun other than the dreary drudgery of pouring cup after cup after cup of coffee, the mundane tasks. I, in a way, brightened their lives. It was because of me that they can perhaps in the week or so after that event, their step could have a little extra spring to it, and they may be a little bit more cheerful in their demeanor. Am I right? Am I right? And all of that happened because I featured a game, and we referred to the player as the Great Gonzalo. It was in my mind. And imagine that series of events. Imagine it's like the butterfly flaps its wings, and it creates a little bit of a high pressure in the air just on his right wing, a little bit of a bubble pressure, which caused the bumblebee that was flying by 7 seconds later to veer off course slightly by half a degree to the right. And then instead of landing on the tulip patch where it was going, it accidentally found a patch of clover flowers because the bumblebee got lost. But he found these clover flowers and he started collecting the nectar and flew back to his nest and buzzed and did whatever kind of communication that bumblebees do, and let all his other bumblebee friends know that, hey guys, I found a huge clover patch, and we don't have to rely on that scampy little tulip patch anymore. We follow me. And they followed him, and there was much rejoicing as the bumblebees collected extra nectar and went back to there and produced more honey, right? Which led to an explosion in the bee population in that particular area, which was welcomed by the swallows who lived there because they had ample food. So there was more and more swallows, which meant that the lady that lives down the street that has cats, her cat ended up catching a few extra birds and couldn't eat them all and dragged the dead corpses to the front door, which caused the lady to have a little bit of a mild stroke and eventually ruined her life. I don't know why she was so upset just because her cat dragged home some dead birds, but what I'm saying is that one thing leads to another, right? You never know what's going to happen. We are a product of our experience, and the paths and the decisions and the things that happen in our lives create and mold us into what we are. And as we share our experiences, as I am with you, the thousands of people that are watching who got to watch the Great Gonzalo video, I had no idea that it would have the effect of improving the lives of Tim Hortons employees in the area where I live. Like, how can you figure that out, right? The world is such a complicated place. The universe is mysterious, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe that's what we should call this video, is the universe is mysterious. Yeah, it most certainly is. I'll catch you guys on the next one.